All right, this is the chapter of transport in mammals. In today's lesson, we have to study about tissue fluid, which is also known as interstitial fluid or intercellular fluid. What this fluid is and how it is made, it is explained in this slide. If you see that there is a capillary which is having blood in it, of course, the one side where from the blood is coming is the arteriolar end, while this area is the venular end. If you remember, I told you in the start of this chapter that the biggest artery in our body is aorta, which divides into many arteries, and arteries divides into arterioles, and arterioles will branch off into numerous one cell thick capillaries. These capillaries will have arteriolar at this side and venular end at this side, where all the capillaries will rejoin to form venules. Venules will rejoin to form veins then. So from our previous knowledge of blood pressure, we know that the blood pressure would be higher at arteriolar end compared to at venual end. So what will happen is that because of the permeability of the capillary and also because of the high blood pressure at arteriolar end, most of the plasma, which is actually most of it is water, and few WBCs will come out of this permeable wall. This movement of tissue fluid or the plasma is because of the high blood pressure at arteriolar end. What this thing is also containing is the oxygen and dissolved food substances, which will be coming into the artery, into the capillary, sorry, and it is going into the tissue fluid, and from the tissue fluid it will be taken up by the cells of the tissues, both by diffusion and osmosis if there is water involved. And if you can see here that white blood cells are also squeezing through the capillary wall, they have the ability to squeeze out from the capillary wall and reach the area of infection or the infection site. On the other hand, we know that the tissue respire all the time because they need to have ATP, they need to have their energy requirement from this process, and we know that during respiration, oxygen is consumed and carbon dioxide is released. So this excretory waste product, which is toxic for our cells, must be given to the capillary so that it can take it out, give it to the veins, and then the veins would deliver the deoxygenated blood into the lungs so that that can be oxygenated. So if you see that the exchange of material, the exchange of oxygen or dissolved food substances or the excretory products, which includes carbon dioxide and urea, it is not it is not in the free form, it is always dissolved in the tissue fluid and then is exchanged. So we can say that the exchange of materials is taking place through tissue fluid or interstitial fluid. Oxygen would come out from the capillary, which is carrying oxygenated blood at the arteriolar end. This oxygen will be dissolved into the tissue fluid and then it will be taken into the cells of the tissue. Similarly, the dissolved food substances, which include glucose, amino acids, numerous mineral ions, which are very essential for these cells, will first be dissolved in this tissue fluid or interstitial fluid or intercellular fluid, and then would be taken up by the cells of the tissue. Similarly, when the toxic substances or excretory waste products are being formed by these cells, those excretory waste products would first be dissolved in the tissue fluid and then will go into the capillary, which will take it back to the heart and eventually will carry the toxic substances where from they have to be excreted out. Carbon dioxide would be removed from lungs, urea would be excreted out through kidneys. So if you see here that all the exchange of material is taking place through tissue fluid. Tissue fluid is coming out and helping the material exchange between the capillary and the cells of the tissue. So what if I keep on removing the plasma and the WBCs out from the capillary? Here I told you that most of the plasma, which is actually most of it is water, is coming out from the capillary because of the high blood pressure. So if we keep on removing it, it will lead to deficiency of it in the capillary. So there must be a way back in. There must be a way by which this excess fluid is taken back into the blood. This is done by lymphatic vessels which are present among the tissue cells. Here you can see the yellow ones are being indicating the cells of the tissue, while interstitial fluid is lying here. Excess of it is taken into the lymphatic vessels through osmosis or by diffusion. So this lymphatic vessel will carry the excess interstitial fluid or tissue fluid and will drain it into the subclavian vein, and that vein would ultimately will go into the heart, which will ultimately pump the blood back to the arteries and then arterioles and so on. So tissue cells are bathed in tissue fluid or interstitial fluid. Tissue fluid allows the diffusion of dissolved substances between the tissue cells and the blood capillaries. Dissolved food substances, you have to name them what these food substances are. They are glucose, amino acid, vitamins, they are mineral ions, and of course oxygen, which will diffuse out from the blood capillaries into the tissue fluid and then into the cells of the tissue. Similarly, excretory products, which includes carbon dioxide and urea, will diffuse out from the cells into the tissue fluid and then through the capillary walls into the blood.